Autodesk Inventor, using the Join command with Extrude. Let me pull up a drawing here. Let's take a look at this. There's several different ways that we could make this part. What I would like to look at doing is, as we look at this, it almost looks like a table. I would like to build the table top and then come in and add the legs to it. So the first thing that I want to look at is this tabletop piece. I'm actually going to use the primitive box command for making that, and then I'll come in and draw the geometry for the legs. But by looking at the top, I can see that from the bottom of the leg to the top of the table is 2 inches, and from the bottom of the leg to the bottom of the table is 1.5 inches. I can do this in my mind and come up with what the math is. I'm going to show you how to use Inventor to do those calculations for you as we get going with this part. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and build that top, which is going to be 2 minus 1.5 is going to be 1/2 inch. Hopefully my math is right on that. All right. I click on the new command, select standard part, go over to the box and select the XY plane and click in the middle here. And what I did was I looked at how thick it was going to be, but let's look at the dimensions for the table, which the dimensions are 3.5 by 3.5. So let me go back over and enter those in. So highlighted in blue, I go 3.5, tab, 3.5, enter, automatically brings me to extrude, and that would be, here's where I could have it do the math. I can go in and say it's 2 inches minus 1.5 inches, and it should automatically do the math for me. I know that's a tough calculation to do on our head, but we can also use Inventor to do that. I might have set Excel back there, but using Inventor in there. All right, now I want to put the legs on. I'm going to click on Sketch, and I'm going to build onto this. So I'm going to go in and grab my rectangle command, click on the corner, making sure that it's joined there. It doesn't look like it was quite joined, so I'm going to hit Escape and go back in there. I'm going to hit on the rectangle command, go up, get the green dot onto the corner. There we go, that looks a little bit better. And let's see, I'll go 0.5, tab 0.5, press enter. Still in the rectangle command, I'll go ahead and do the other corner, wait for the green dot, come in there and go 0.75. Whoops, it automatically size that, I think. I'm not sure, we'll check and see. Let's see if I do better on this one here. I go 0.75, tab 0.75, enter. Come over here onto this one, put the 4th leg on there, doing a little bit better now, 0.75, tab 0.75, enter. Well, I've got some things to go in and clean up. I messed up on this first one. I only put it in at 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, and this one I didn't get a dimension on it at all. So I'm going to tell it that I'm done with the rectangle command. To get out of that, I just right click and say click on OK. I can come into this dimension, double click it, and change its dimension to 0.75, as well as do the same thing on this one. Double click, type in 0.75, press enter. On this one I didn't put a dimension on here, but watch this. I can go in there, select the dimension command afterwards, put the dimension on there, and it shows that it's not quite the dimension I want. Type that in now, 0.75, and there we go. Now I have everything resized. All those legs have the correct geometry shape, or geometry dimensions. Click Finish that, come back over to my Extrude command, and now none of the profiles are highlighted. By having my profile icon selected there, I can go in and select each one of these and get those to extrude out. Now if you remember from the drawing, those were 1.5 inches. Right here. Here's our 1.5 inches. Here's our size, 3/4 by 3/4. I probably didn't show that to you once we got started. I come in here and I tell it to make those 1.5 inches. And there we go. There are the legs on the table. Over here on the left, you've probably noticed that we have this using up some of our space on the screen. This is really important. Whatever you do, do not close this box. It's extremely hard to get back up. It's really important. This is showing us the history of what we did. If I go down here, it highlights the different pieces that we put together. I can even go in here and right-click and actually tell it to suppress one of the features. It turns the feature off. And you can see that it's now faded out instead of bold. I can go right-click on it and tell it to unsuppress the feature, and it brings it back. If I try and suppress the first feature, because there's other things that are connected to it, if I try and suppress it, it's going to say it doesn't like that, and everything past that point is also going to disappear because it needs all of that. So a little bit scary here. Our part just went away. I bring it back up. There we go. It's back on our screen. I'm going to go in and do something here where I go, I don't like what I did here. I'm going to change this. I do like it, but I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to go in here and right-click on this. I'm going to tell it to delete the feature. I want to delete the feature, but I want to keep the geometry. So up here, it says right here, consumed sketch and feature. I'm going to uncheck this box so that it leaves my geometry there so that I can come back and use it. You can see once we apply a feature to it, the sketch is consumed. If I want to see that sketch, I can click on the side here and it actually shows me the sketch. I'm going to close that back up. So here I am. This is the second sketch that I've made in this part. It was what I wanted, but I'm going to do something here to help you out with future projects. I'm going to click on Extrude again. I have my profile button, but this time I'm only going to extrude one of those legs, and it still retained the dimension of 1.5. And I'm going to click OK. Where did the other geometry go? I need to put the other legs on there. That geometry is gone. By expanding this out, I can now see the sketch there, and the geometry is still there in the sketch, but it's not there for me to apply a feature to. I'm going to come down here on this sketch, right-click on it, and I'm going to tell it to share the sketch. By sharing the sketch, it makes it available for that geometry for other features. Now if I go in there and I click Extrude, I can go in and select this one, and here's something else I can do by sharing that, is I could actually change this leg to be a different length. Not a good table design, but it does allow me the flexibility to change some of those. I'm going to go back to 1.5. That's what our drawing says to do. And while I'm here, I could even select the other ones and do that. But I just wanted to make sure that you knew that if you did that, you can go back in and share it and use that information. So now I have just built that table and I'm all set. So that is the conclusion of joining material together, Extrude.